Support for this podcast and the following message comes from MGM Studios and United Artists Releasing's Licorice Pizza, a film written and directed by Paul Thomas Anderson. Licorice Pizza tells the story of Alana, Kane, and Gary Valentine, growing up, running around, and falling in love in the San Fernando Valley, 1973, named Best Film of 2021 by the National Board of Review, and nominated for 8 Critics' Choice Awards, including Best Picture, now playing in select theaters in 70mm, everywhere Christmas Day, for your consideration in all categories, including Best Picture of the Year. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the AwardsWatch Oscar Podcast. I'm your host, Eric Anderson, and it is almost Christmas. But even better than that, it's almost time for the Oscar Shortlist, and that's why we're here. And I've got a very special guest with me. I've got Will Mavity from Next Best Picture. Hello, Will.
Hi, everybody. I am honored to be back on the AwardsWatch Podcast again. I don't know. It's been a minute, right? Was 2019 shortlist the last time I was on?
I was just thinking about that before we came on. I'm like, wait a minute. I know you're returning, but it's been a long time. But that's because I think I did one podcast in all of like 2020. I just stopped kind of doing them. I was just like, I didn't want to. And then I'm kind of back in it now and enjoying it. I'm loving it. And having fun guests and keeping it like at a nice tight 1 hour instead of these like 2.5 hour epics that.
Oh, we'll see about that.
Yeah, no, I'm cutting you off even before we finish. But yeah, speaking of, let's kind of get right to it. And we are going to be talking about the Oscar shortlist. They come out on December 21st. And we're recording this on December 19th. It'll be out December 20th. So you'll have to all listen to it before the real ones come out. But I think we have a lot of thoughts. We have, how many categories do we have? We have sound, visual effects, documentary feature, international feature, makeup and hair, original song, original score. We're not going to do the shorts.
The shorts. Oh God. I don't have predictions for those. I would have been so screwed.
But the existence of the shorts in the short list is a wonderful thing because it really helps us then start doing some breadcrumbing and going back and go, okay, here's what has good reviews and here's what's been seen and here's how many festivals it showed up. And that kind of helps us get to those when we're making our official predictions. But let's go ahead and start with original score. And as we know from Variety, even though they're like super selfish about the actual list, there were 137 eligible scores, and there will be 15 of them shortlisted. This is a fun category because, as we just saw last year, sometimes you get some strange things showing up, and you wonder, how did that happen? And then you start kind of winding it back, like that Blizzard of Souls showing up here. But, then she won the Hollywood Music and Media Award for foreign language film. So
okay, yeah. So is there more of a story behind that though?
No, but I think that was kind of it. And that was when we started, working our way back and go, how did this happen? And then it was like, oh, okay, this makes a lot of sense.
Death of Stalin too. That was another one. I was like, where did that come from?
Exactly. And I think we know that like Johnny Greenwood has 2 scores that are in, but not Licorice Pizza, which really isn't going to be featured very much anywhere at all in these short lists. But I think we have a lot of really obvious ones that are going to make it in. And, I compiled everything that made either like a Globe, Critics' Choice, and the HMMA list. And there's only one score that made all 3, which is kind of interesting. And it's an obvious choice. It's Johnny Greenwood's Power of the Dog.
But, not Dune.
Not Dune. Well, see, here's the thing. Because Dune did not make the top HMMA category for feature film, and it only made science fiction, I didn't include it.
Yeah.
If it made a genre, nomination somewhere, I chose not to include it.
Are they eligible for both? I mean, could it have gotten into? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it is a snub. Oh, that's interesting.
It was a snub, and we'll talk about it in other categories too, because documentary has so many different types of precursors, and we'll get to that later. But let's just kind of jump right into what we think is going to get in. Obviously, our lists are going to have a lot of crossover, but I'll start, and I'll go alphabetically to what I think the 15 will be, and then we'll look at yours and then look at the outside possibilities.
All right, let's hear it.
I have Dune, Cyrano, Akiara, Don't Look Up, Encanto, The French Dispatch, King Richard, The Last Duel, Luca, Nightmare Alley, No Time to Die, Parallel Mothers, The Power of the Dog, Spencer, and The Tragedy of Macbeth.
Okay, so I'm super curious about you thinking Dan Romer and Ben Zeitlin are going to get in for Kiara. Have they been campaigning that? I mean, talk to me about kind of.
That was the one when I was putting my list together. That was the one that I felt like might be the one that stands out of the list, the Blizzard of Souls of this list. And there's nothing really more than that, other than they have some name recognition. And that was it. Although I think we're going to talk about a name, speaking of name recognition, somebody that has a good chance to get in here that we sort of just found out about this week, I think. Maybe. We'll see.
Oh my God. Yeah. Okay.
I know you know what I'm thinking about.
Yeah. So I am very curious, especially given that Netflix just rescheduled Operation Mincemeat to an April release date. Mm-hmm. But somehow the Academy has already decided that perennial nominee Thomas Newman's work for Operation Mincemeat, a World War II movie with Colin Firth, is eligible this year. And it sure seems like every single time, even if it's a bland score, like The Little Things last year, he makes the short list.
Yep.
So I think a couple people have seen it. It's under embargo. Yeah. But that is a possibility. I'm not sure he makes it this year, but there are a couple that I'm curious about. One, I think Raya and the Last Dragon actually has a possibility here. James Newton Howard, 9-time nominee, actually pretty good score. I've seen a lot of targeted advertising to the Society of Composers and Lyricists. I do think that's a possibility. I also think there's a couple more Netflix titles. I know they're pushing Dick and Hinchcliffe's score for The Lost Daughter pretty hard.
Yep.
And I don't think it's impossible that James Samuel gets in here for The Harder They Fall. I think that's more of a song contender, but I do think that's possible.
I think it's a good choice.
Did you mention, I don't love this score, but did you mention Being the Ricardos?
I didn't. No, I didn't. But I do have the Lost Daughter, Mincemeat, and Raya and the Dragon as my watch out for picks.
Okay, yeah.
As a result.
Let's see. And then you also, did you mention King Richard?
I did. Yeah. Chris Bowers. Yeah. I do have that.
Yeah. So those are definitely the ones that I'm most considering. I know that the film music reporter guy is convinced that there is quietly a lot of support he's talked to Music Branch voters, and he is convinced that there's enough support for Daniel Hart to get the Green Knight onto this shortlist. And that could also be kind of like not what the fuck, it's a great score, but kind of I didn't consider that score like Blizzard of Souls or Death of Stalin. A24 has been re-promoting that one, doing a lot of new interviews for its Below the Line team. So it's a possibility too.
Definitely. I have it showing up somewhere else later in our conversation, but that's a good one. I like that one too. So what else do you have that's different than what I have?
Yeah, I think I pretty much listed the ones that
Okay.
we disagree on. I had Being the Ricardos until recently, but that film's really slipped. So yeah, we pretty much line up aside from me thinking that Raya gets in.
Yeah, I think that's a great pick, especially with the history of James Newton Howard. And you know, when I look at my list, it is almost entirely made up of previous nominees and winners and real names. There's only just a handful that aren't the national, obviously from Cyrano, but it's a great score. And you know, Jermaine Franco, who surprisingly, you know, got that Golden Globe nomination, which I thought was really, really cool. She's the first woman to score a Walt Disney animated film. I think I think there will be some attention to that. So it's yeah, I think that's kind of where I'm at with that.
Yeah, I really do hope Cyrano gets in there. I hope that the campaign has been strong enough. You know, they're not Oscar music branch regulars, but it is just gorgeous work in there. The last one, I really do think this is a long shot, but I think there's a teensy tiny possibility that Independent Spirit Award nominee The Novice makes the short list, just because Alex Weston has shown up here before with some stuff like
Farewell.
The Farewell. And obviously this film is a smaller film than The Farewell was, but it's such a good score. I mean, like, it's super long shot, but I do think there's a teensy tiny possibility that were to show up there.
I love that as a long shot pick. And I think that's what these short lists really show us. And it's one of the most fun things about it is that it really gives us our first glimpse into really what a whole lot of races look like. Because right now we're just talking out our asses. Yeah. And once those lists come in, those are real voters. this is a real list, and that gives us a whole lot of insight. Sometimes it's a little bit of trickery when we think that, oh wow, maybe we needed to go left when we went right. But
yeah, Jingle Jangle showing up in like 5 categories last year.
Exactly. That really threw me off last year, because it felt like a below the line bubbling under contender, and then it hit those shortlists, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, maybe it's real. And I top 5'd it like all over the place for a little while, but yeah, it's there's some trickery in these shortlists, but it's really, really fun to parse it out.
Yeah.
Let's jump to original song right after original score, which there were 84 eligible songs for. And I'm going to have you do your list first, and then we'll break them down.
Okay. So I am not completely sold on this as a possibility, but I do think Annette might get in for May We Start.
As it
then
should.
I have, yeah. I have Belfast, Down to Joy by Van Morrison. I have kind of a feeling that Brian Wilson's Long Promised Road song, what's the song called again?
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, the Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys.
Yeah, I had it and then I took it out, and I should have it in there.
I think her song for Bruised might get in. Then I have Beyond the Shore from Coda. Every Letter from Cyrano, even though I don't think it is the best song in that film. I prefer Somebody Desperate from the end credits. I have Don't Look Up for Just Look Up, although again, I think the better song is the Bon Iver one that plays over the end credits.
Agree to disagree.
Okay. Oh yeah. Well, you know what? That one does get props for being featured in the film, though, and I think is something that I always appreciate instead of just being tacked onto the credits. Lin-Manuel Miranda's Dos Orejitas for Encanto.
Yeah.
4 Good Days with that Diane Warren song. That movie doesn't exist, but it's Diane Warren. I have Guns Go Bang for The Harder They Fall. I have Be Alive for King Richard. And then No Time to Die from No Time to Die. I have that awful like Christian rock sounding song from The Rescue. I have The Respect song, Here I Am, Singing My Way Home.
Yep.
and then the U2 song for Sing 2. So please tell me all the places I'm wrong.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. I forgot. I just watched Sing 2 the other night, and it's certainly one of those like, here's like
It's
a pretty
Bono.
basic song, but it's Bono.
Yeah.
Uh, we certainly have a whole lot of crossover, and I really should rethink the Brian Wilson song. It makes a lot of sense. We always get documentaries showing up here, but on the outside of what you picked, I do regrettably have, at least as of right now, this might change, but as of right now, the anonymous ones from Dear Evan Hansen.
I wouldn't mind that though, because like then Amanda Stenberg would be, if they got nominated.
Yeah,
I'm a big Stenberg fan, so
sure,
that would be cool.
that's fine. I would just like nothing for that movie. So
Yes.
let's see, what else do I have that's outside? Call Me Cruella. I have making the
that's
cut.
a good song.
And
Florence
it's a
Kane.
great song.
Yeah.
It's Nicholas Britell. He's going to get in for the score. So, I think basically I have all the same ones that you do, except my outside pick here is the song from The Green Knight.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Which I won't really try and mispronounce like horrifically here,
But you don't speak Gaelic? What's wrong with you?
not
Or
the type
like
of Gaelic that
Old
you're
English?
thinking about.
Ah!
But hey, whoa, family show. Yeah, so that's kind of my outside like maybe pick. And
Okay.
then we have the Lead My Way from Raya and the Last Dragon, On My Way from Mitchell's versus the Machines. Another Diane Warren song for a documentary, the Mustangs documentary, and Home All Day from In the Heights are possibilities here, I think.
I also think you mentioned docs. John Batiste, hot off winning his Oscar last year for Soul,
And 11 Grammy nominations.
Yeah, he has an original song for the First Wave.
That's right.
I think that's possible.
Oh my God.
And then Rufus Wainwright, for that Rebel Hearts has an original song. Maybe that is a possibility as well.
I had that in like a long list, but ended up taking it out. But yeah, that John Batiste is, I'm gonna have to swap something out.
Yeah.
And get that in there.
Really, the doc songs show up there. He just won. It feels like a real possibility.
And it is. And once you're in the group, you're really in it at that point, especially with the music branch. The music branch loves its favorites in a way that only Diane Warren really knows. Well, and Thomas Newman. But yeah.
Okay, and then it's not going to happen, but I would fucking die if the Michael Bublé Christmas sweater from Silent Night, co-written by Matthew Vaughn, of all people. Matthew Vaughn and Lauren Balfe, the composers, are also credited writers on it. I just want it to happen because it would be a weird bit of trivia, like every time you have like a new Kingsman movie from Oscar-nominated director Matthew Vaughn, like for what? A Michael Bublé Christmas song.
Maybe it's the jingle jangle of this year of throwing us off and being like, wait a minute.
Yeah, I'd be super down for that.
Yeah, I think that would be actually kind of a lot of fun. All right, let's move to sound, which I know is something that you love, and you're very chummy with sound folks and really dive into upcoming films and what their sound team looks like. And I love that. I get so much information just stealing directly from you, so I don't have to look it up myself. And it's great. So let's take a look at sound, and if we might have some strange things, some obvious things. I'll go first. We've got 10 films that will be shortlisted for this. And I have Belfast, Cyrano, Dune, King Richard, The Last Duel, No Time to Die, The Power of the Dog, Tick, Tick, Boom, The Tragedy of Macbeth, and West Side Story, which means I'm leaving out things like Matrix and A Quiet Place Part 2.
I think you are. I might have egg on my face over this one, but I think you're underestimating The Harder They Fall here. because
Okay.
The Harder They Fall. I did a tweet about this. I don't remember how many nominations that team has between them, but
Yes,
it's a
that's right.
substantial number.
Yeah.
Secondly, I don't know. I've been asking around, and it obviously there's a ton of people in the sound branch, but three of them did tell me that was one of the films they listed.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's enough to change it, but I think it's definitely one. And also, it's it's an incredible film to listen to. It's James Samuel really wanted them to emphasize the sound. It's almost, you can listen to it almost like it's an old time like Western radio drama, and the way it incorporates music is excellent too. I do also think that if we're considering musicals that aren't West Side Story, did you mention Tick Tick Boom?
Yeah.
Okay, yes. Yeah, because I think that one ostensibly is it Todd Maitland was production sound recorder for that. Apparently they developed some kind of new tech for that one to record on-set audio for musicals specifically. They haven't really played up that narrative as much as they could, but it's definitely worth considering. Do you have Nightmare Alley in there?
I have it in my watch out for section.
Okay, yeah.
Because I was thinking about that.
They're those guys have only been nominated for The Shape of Water, which I think is this is not going to be as big a contender as Shape of Water was, but it's really just sonic feast for the ears, and it's excellent to listen to. So I think that's a real possibility. Do you have Power of the Dog?
Of course.
Okay, yeah. King Richard, I have it just missing because I think the Richard King love. I know it kills me that Richard King did the sound for King Richard.
Yeah.
I think they love him, but I think he might get in for Harder They Fall. It's a really good sign if King Richard gets in for just love across the board, because it's not as overtly showy as some. I think you're right in having Matrix miss. Other than Dane Davis, who won for the original film, it's not really super well-known people in the branch who worked on it.
Exactly.
Wild Card, The Suicide Squad has a ton of former nominees on there. I don't have it getting in, but I don't think it's worth completely writing off. So those are a couple I would definitely say keep an eye on.
And that's one of the most fascinating things about this category, and especially now that it's a combined, sound category, but you can pull from sound designers, mixers, and editors that have been nominated and won, and start building this crew that is enormous. And that's always a part of when I would make a list like this. But it's not everything, because the other part of the sound list for me is when a Best Picture frontrunner is a real frontrunner, and it hits a place like sound. And for at least what I feel that the main frontrunners are, they already kind of have amazing sound as a part of the storytelling. Having Belfast here isn't strange, because there are riot sequences and there are major sound sequences in it. But it and something like King Richard, making it in here really marks the widespread support for films like that. So that helps me either solidify what I already think or tell me I'm wrong and where I should be going.
Yeah, and obviously, if Belfast or Power of the Dog misses here, I do think that that's a warning sign, because those films sound great, and that alone, even without particularly insider team, should be enough to get them in. And same for King Richard. People are trying to figure out, is that film, is it going to play better with the industry than critics like we expect or not? So, did you have Macbeth in here?
Yeah, I believe so. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, because I think that's definitely one. I don't know how well it's going to play in most categories.
In a just world, it would basically hit every single below the line category.
Absolutely.
I mean, like everything, like visual effects, everything it should hit.
But that's just me. I completely agree. I don't know how well it will play, but I think sound, it's a really excellent sound showcase from Skip Leavesay. So I think it's, definitely a strong contender here.
I think if it gets a sound nomination, that Catherine Hunter should automatically be a part of that sound team, because it would be nothing without her.
Oh my God. I'm obsessed with her voice. Like,
I know.
genuinely. It's so good.
I want her for Christmas to scare my family.
God. Okay, yeah, I support that.
I am definitely going to take your mention of The Harder They Fall very seriously. And I'm going to look at my list and I am going to find a place for it, because I have 3 musicals on it.
One to go.
Yeah, I have 3 musicals on right now. So I wonder. Ironically, though, I think it's the sound and score that are better than like song choices. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Let's go to makeup and hairstyling, another 10 slot category. And we only have like Critics' Choice nominations for that right now. Gosh, I forgot to go over all of the other things that had accumulated before, but I'll do that. I'll do that right now. No, when we were talking about original song a bit ago, the only 2 films that have Golden Globe Critics' Choice and HMMA are Be Alive and No Time to Die. That's it.
And that doesn't help us because those 2 are already
exactly
the presumed front runners.
They're already going to get in, and if they didn't, it would be like some of the biggest shocks of the day.
Oh yeah,
but yeah. But in makeup and hairstyling, we've got 10 slots, and Cruella, Dune, The Eyes of Tammy Faye, House of Gucci, and Nightmare Alley all hit Critics' Choice, and clearly seem like an easy 5 to get in here. Would you agree that those 5 are in? Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
So then let's look at the other 5 that we think might get in. Do you want to go first, or would you like me to go first?
Man, this category is killing me. So
it's a lot.
In addition to the ones you mentioned, I don't know if this is wishful thinking on my part, but I do have The Green Knight getting in there because
me too.
Yeah, I think it's just such an undeniable feat of makeup and prosthetics work that I want to believe that they'll remember it. It's extraordinary work.
Yes.
I do, as of now, have Coming to America. Yes. In there. It's a lot of the prosthetics in there are recreating the same characters from the original film, but they do create 3 or 4 new characters that Arsenio and Eddie Murphy play.
Yes.
So I have that getting in at the moment. I think the Suicide Squad shows up here. The first one won. This isn't as much of a makeup showcase, but it's definitely there with the Polka Dot Man and some of the additions to Harley Quinn. That's a soft yes for me. Could totally miss. It
is, because I think that most people would agree that it getting in and even winning, which was terrible, was really because of Jared Leto's Joker and his sheer amount of makeup.
Well, the Killer Croc too in that one. He was all makeup.
True. Okay, good point.
And then another one I'm really considering is The Electrical Life of Louis Wayne.
Ooh.
Seems like kind of a random one and has really good old age prosthetics work at the end.
Yes. And I know they're pushing it. They're pushing that pretty specifically for that category. That's a good choice.
Yeah, there's a couple I'm wavering on. So do we have Nightmare Alley getting in? Is that one?
Because that was a CCA pick. So I'm going with all 5 of the CCA picks, and then I have 5 more.
Yeah, I'm curious on Spencer, because I thought Jackie would get in 2016 and it didn't even make the short list.
Yeah, and I don't think it's enough.
Yeah. So I have that missing right now. Do you think The Last Duel gets in?
I don't even have it, not even on my list or in my watch out for section.
All right, so talk to me. What do you got for yours?
So on top of the 5 and on top of Suicide Squad and The Green Knight, which you mentioned, I also have Being the Ricardos, King Richard, and Titan.
Oh man, if Titan gets in there, I would be so happy. I mean, it deserves it.
I feel really good actually about that. It's not the same kind of foreign language film that gets in here, which is usually old age makeup, but I feel like I feel like this branch likes to do this enough that this is where it would happen.
God, that would be so good. Being the Ricardos, I definitely think is a very likely possibility. Yeah, those are great. Outside, in your King Richard is definitely one. That's like, if it gets in here, that's a big sign that they're big fans.
Yeah.
The last couple of years they've been really into hair. Are there any other major hair showcases you can think of?
This is really funny because I always do this too. I'm like, okay, which period piece is the Victorian Abdul and that kind of thing? And there are not that many. So the one I feel like would be represented would be Cyrano, because it actually has big wigs and, the white kabuki like makeup on the men.
Right.
It has all that. I mean, Ben Mendelsohn alone should be able to get Cyrano in here. So I have it on my just on the outside right now.
Also, they have like some like frostbite work on the soldiers before they're going out to battle and stuff. So I think that is a very real possibility here. I'm looking who other people have. I know Clayton thinks Army of the Dead might get. I'm not feeling that. That's pretty standard zombie makeup. If they're doing something horror, I think they're going to do Titan, like you said. So
especially since so much of that kind of stuff is a mix of makeup and visual effects now. I just wonder how much the makeup branch is going to want to back that.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see if there's anything else I have in here. No, I think pretty much we overlap on everything. And honestly, like, I don't know, like maybe Respect pops in randomly for her different wigs, but...
What about the French Dispatch? Because I know some people have that in, but I'm not quite there.
I think people are just predicting that because Grand Budapest Hotel won, and they're forgetting that the reason that got in there was the Tilda Swinton old age makeup.
Yeah, and people are trying to make the jump from Budapest to Dispatch in a way that is just not there, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, like there is, period hairstyling and adding the odd mustache here and there, but there's nothing here that like screams slam dunk nomination. So I'm not predicting that one.
Yes, and Timmy Chalamet's dong was real; it wasn't a prosthetic. So.
Was Bradley Cooper's A Nightmare Alley? Was that real?
Unfortunately, it was. I had to watch it twice to even catch it because it was what it was. But I wouldn't have showed it if I was him. I'm just going to say that much.
It was the water. The water has, that's what we'll say.
That would be the excuse. I would say that excuse all the time. Yeah, that it just distorted it. Sure, why not? Whatever works.
Bradley.
I do have the Tragedy Macbeth also as a possible outside too, because it's either going to do extremely well in these below the lines, or it'll get one or two. But I think I think a lot of movies feel like that now. It's like, are you going to get 2 or 3, or are you going to get 6 to 8? What is it? What's happening?
Yeah, that tracks there. I'm looking if I had anything else there. I still haven't seen A Matrix Resurrections yet, but I know that they do some old age work on Jada Pinkett Smith, I think.
Yeah, I saw it in the trailer, and I wouldn't be giving that anything.
yeah. I mean, there's a lot of makeup.
It was not good.
Makeup, but
it was not good.
It does exist, though.
But it is there. It exists. Let's go. Speaking of something like The Matrix and visual effects, let's go to visual effects.
Oh, wow. What a transition.
It is. I'm amazing at these, aren't I?
Okay. Why don't you start on this one?
I will start. We've got 10 spots here. The only thing we have so far to kind of go off of, with the exception of a few critics groups that do visual effects nominations and wins, are Critics' Choice again. So we've got Dune and Matrix and Shang-Chi got nominations, but then like Nightmare Alley did too, which was an interesting pick, but I don't see it coming anywhere near this short list at all. So I have Don't Look Up for all of that third act space stuff. Mm-hmm. Eternals, Finch, Ghostbusters, Afterlife, Godzilla versus Kong, Matrix, as I mentioned, Spider-Man No Way Home, Suicide Squad, and The Tomorrow War. But I am going to hold out some maybes for obviously other Marvel stuff like Shang-Chi and Black Widow, but then they haven't been that kind to Marvel movies here.
Oh, definitely not. I mean, I think, it's been observed that they have quote unquote a chilly relationship with Marvel. I think if one of those gets in, I think Shang-Chi is more likely. They actually, Disney has actually been pushing that one a lot in its campaign advertising. So maybe it's more likely. I think Free Guy is a low-key sleeper to make this list.
I forgot. I totally forgot. I had that on my list and then I forgot to put it on.
Yeah,
oh my gosh.
I think Free Guy probably makes the short list. Just there's so much there. And it's all, it's a well-liked film. I think that helps. Okay, so there's one, I hate this movie, but Jungle Cruise was literally entirely shot in a green screen. There's not a single bit of actual jungle footage. And in fact, there's almost no sets built. It's like 300. It's just all green screen. So I do think there is a slight possibility that shows up on the short list.
If it does, it will get in for most, not best, because you can tell that every second of that is not on location.
Speaking of things that are a little more surprising, that they're against green screen, No Time to Die. No Time to Die has almost as many VFX shots as Dune does. You just don't notice them. So there's so many, that great shot of them the soldiers descending over the building against sunset. That's all, that's all green screen.
Yeah.
The whole trawler that they're on with Felix Leiter is CGI. But then also the practical, the practical FX people are going to support that one too, because there is also a lot of practical work. So I think that's a real possibility to get on there.
I think so, and it did make CCA as well, but it's also sort of feels like the Dunkirk Tenet kind of thing, where you're really forcing the group to acknowledge practical effects versus visual effects and where they meet, and is it the same? It's tough. It's really tough.
Well, if it's Dunkirk, it makes the short list at least.
Exactly.
So,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
See, and then I'm thinking about something like Swan Song. Obviously the Apple one, not the one with Udo Kier, although he is a visual effect unto himself.
Is like chandelier hat, Yeah, give it to him just for that. I love
iconic. But there are very, ex machina type visual effects in Swan Song that are extremely, extremely subtle, but so absolutely perfect that there's never like a moment where you're taken out of a story because of it. And Ex Machina did that extremely well too. So I can see an outside shot there.
Also, another film I don't love, but Ghostbusters Afterlife has a lot.
Yeah, and, I have that in.
Oh, you have that? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then also, I think you have the Suicide Squad in or no?
I do, yes.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a huge VFX showcase. And then also, like last year we had Soul get in. So there was a possibility of an animated film like in Encanto or Mitchell's versus the Machines. We will see. But yeah, I think those are. Oh, last one. There's the Green Knight. Low key, it's the two nominees or the two people it's A24 is submitting on their ticket are both Weta, pretty high-ranking people, former nominees for the Hobbit and Lord of the Rings films. And there's low-key, the makeup work is great, but there is low-key a lot of CGI in that film too. Background extensions, the fox, stuff like that. So I would not be surprised at all to see that make it.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And again, it's just, you have to wonder, is the Green Knight going to have any type of representation at all? And how is that going to look? I think that would be pretty great if it got in here.
Yeah,
I would like that. I think we just have 2 categories left. Oh my God, we do. Documentary feature and international feature film. Let's start with doc. And we actually have a few fun precursors, fun being a relative word, obviously, but for us it is, that we can kind of look to. We've got Critics' Choice, we have Cinema Eye Honors, we have the International Documentary Association, and we have the PGA nominees, which there is not a lot of huge crossover, but when you start combining things together is, when we can kind of see something. And there's going to be 15 films shortlisted here, and I'm going to let you go first.
No, I know. It sounds like you have put together. I haven't done the crossover here. I want to hear what Eric Anderson thinks.
Okay, I have my 15. And then after that, I will reveal which two have gotten all 4 of these precursor nominations or wins. So I have Ascension, Attica, Fayadai, The First Wave, Flea, Francesco, In the Same Breath, Julia, Not Going Quietly, Procession, The Rescue, Summer of Soul, The Velvet Underground, Who We Are, A Chronicle of Racism in America, and Writing with Fire. And of those 15 that I listed, the only 2 that have gotten Critics' Choice, Cinema Eye Honors, Independent Documentary Association, and Producers Guild are Flea and Summer of Soul. And Summer of Soul won Critics' Choice, which is basically a death knell for it.
Yeah, I know. I feel so bad for that film, but as long as Flea gets in, I'll be happy. So
Flea's definitely getting in, but and I think Summer of Soul is definitely getting in.
I mean, getting into the nomination. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, I think that's happening too, though.
I'm terrified of Flea being the surprise miss that we get every year.
No, it's going to be Summer of Soul.
Yeah, it's fucked because it won. It's so sad.
It's not just that; it's the archival footage thing. This is like, it's what's happening is going to be like what happened to Apollo 11. Yeah, and it got everything and it won everything and it was all the way there and made the short list, and then boom, right at the end.
Okay. So there's a couple more I'm curious about. One, yes. President.
I just took President out literally this morning before we started. Yes, to put Writing with Fire in.
I still have President in. I think that, it's a really interesting topic, politically relevant, and
yes,
has amazing access to the real life players in Zimbabwe. I think Amazon's pushing both Val and My Name is Polly Murray a lot, and I do wonder if one of those gets in. Val, the doc branch is mixed on whether or not it likes documentaries about industry people.
Yeah,
but maybe that's possible. And then My Name is Polly Murray. Betsy West and Julie Cohen have gotten in for RBG before, so I think that's possible.
And they also have Julia, so they have 2 films. This year.
I guess you're not feeling the Sparks Brothers. I don't think I am either.
No, I do have Velvet Underground, but I have Sparks on the outside with Val and with Polly Murray. And that's just kind of getting a read off of the branch. And they've been, we have history of knowing what they like and they don't like. And they aren't that keen on industry type docs unless it's, I don't know, pretty special, like Amy or something.
All right, I have 2 more for you.
Okay.
What do you think about The Lost Leonardo and Becoming Cousteau?
I have both of those on my watch out for, because they've each kind of showed up at places, whether it's Critics' Choice or other places. But I'm just I don't know. I'm not convinced. And it's weird because I have Francesco and Julia, which have gotten nothing at all.
Mm-hmm, but they just feel like
these
shortlist films.
They do, because they're from previous nominees. That have made the final cut. So I'm just it's I have to look at that. I have to look at how strangely poorly COVID docs did last year. And then what we have this year, and that's the first wave. So
didn't you also say you have In the Same Breath too, though?
I have In the Same Breath, which has,
so you're doing double COVIDs,
IDA and PGA. Yeah, but in for the short list, I'm okay with it, but I won't predict I wouldn't predict both of them to get in.
And let's see. And then I know some people are predicting Crime of the Century.
Yes, there's the two crime ones. I have to look at my list again. Where are you? Well, now I can't find it. But yeah, there was like Crime of the Century and another crime doc too, which might be to their disadvantage that their titles are so similar.
But yeah, I think that's, those are the only other ones I was considering. I guess maybe that Anthony Bourdain one could, but there was a lot of controversy about him like digitally recreating Anthony's voice.
I think that's so far down the list.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have
I know
Jacinta maybe too. I have.
Yeah. And then I'm trying to see what else is showing up with critics groups. I know that the Sesame Street, I don't think that one's going to happen.
No.
Definitely don't think Gunda is.
I don't either. I don't either. I think most people feel like it came out last year anyway.
Yeah, I know. I keep having to remind myself it didn't. So.
I actually do too, because people have dropped it down in like my mentions for stuff. And I'm like, wait a minute, wasn't that last year?
Yeah. So I think we pretty much covered the doc race for sure.
I think so.
You feel good about Velvet Underground getting in?
Into the short list? Yeah, I do. More so that it's Todd Haynes and it's even if it's his first doc. But yeah, I feel like that makes a little more sense.
If he gets nominated with that, has he been nominated for anything before? He wrote Far From Heaven, right? He got nominated for that. Yeah, okay. So that wouldn't be his first, if he got in, that wouldn't be his first nomination, right?
I have to double check because that you're gonna scare me.
No, I think he got one for writing Far From Heaven. But yeah, if he hasn't been nominated for something yet.
Yeah.
And I don't think the Sparks Brothers is going to get in, but I would love it too, just so Edgar Wright would be a nominee, but it's not going to happen. So
I think a lot of people would like that.
Yeah.
A lot would like that. All right, let's finish with international feature film, which is honestly one of the most exciting and competitive categories this year. I think it is insane. And it's kind of driving me crazy because I'm looking at my list and it's so Eurocentric, and it's driving me crazy because it isn't out of, trying to find something else that's great. It's looking at history and it's looking at all the top films this year in this category are there. If anything isn't, it's going to be a pretty big snub for quite a few titles.
Yeah. People have really kind of rallied around the same group of 10 or 15 films in general this year. I mean, I'm looking at critics groups.
Yeah.
There's such a consensus behind Drive My Car, Titan, Worst Person in the World, A Hero, and Flea,
And The Hand of God.
And Hand of God, yeah. Those just keep showing up.
Exactly.
So I think like all six of those, do we agree that all six of those are going to get in?
Oh, Into Here, of course. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And then do you think Lamb is going to get in to the short list?
I actually have it just on the outside because I know it's going to be one of the more visible films this season. But, I do also, we know that this branch too, for all of their foibles in the past, do try and present a good cross section, and I think we'll see a little bit of that. So do you want me to go first with mine?
Go ahead.
All right. So outside of the six that you mentioned, I also have Compartment Number 6 from Finland. I have Do Not Hesitate from Netherlands. I have The Falls from Taiwan, Great Freedom from Austria, Hive from Kosovo, I'm Your Man from Germany, Lingui, The Sacred Bonds from Chad, Prayers for the Stolen from Mexico, and Unclenching the Fists from Russia.
Okay, so do you think, given its high profile nature, assuming it doesn't get DQ'd, you don't think Memoria from Colombia has a chance? I keep waiting for them to disqualify it, because a lot of it's in English.
I thought they would have by now, but I
haven't heard anything.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure how Memoria is going to be seen. We have the official list, but there is still room for disqualifications to happen.
Yeah.
But we haven't heard anything yet.
Yeah. I'm also curious. I haven't seen The Good Boss. I heard it's bad. But,
yeah, me too. I think it's toast. Spain's been pretty weak here.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
so
when it's not Almodovar, yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I guess they wanted to mix it up, but it's a really weird choice.
It is, and it would have, I mean, obviously putting Parallel Mothers here would have made this category even more competitive and more Eurocentric even than it already is. But even in trying to look outside, I can't find anything that maybe Algeria.
So Casablanca Beats I haven't seen, but I heard is pretty crowd pleasing. That's from Morocco.
Yes, I think that's possible. But yeah, all of my other like outliers are still Eurocentric films and Iceland. The Romanian Bad Luck Banging and Looney Porn, I think would be hilarious and amazing as just to have them say it. Zatopek from Czech Republic, The Metamorphosis of Birds from Portugal, and then
the Albanian one, which is just making fun of the Venice Film Festival. Maybe that is, I don't know if it's any good. They haven't promoted it much, but something that's poking fun at this whole world, maybe. But yeah, everything is super Eurocentric. You're exactly right. It's very frustrating.
It is, and we have been really kind of moving away from it a little bit and more African nominees and possibilities, but I go through the list and I'm struggling to see where this group is going to go out on a limb for when we have titles like this.
Yeah, I'm really hoping, especially with 15 slots this year, that we're gonna get some total just like out of the blue surprises. But also, isn't this now? Didn't they expand voting for the shortlist to everybody now? Or is it?
Yeah, it's very, very open now.
Yeah. So now it is just going to be has the most recognition, right?
Yeah, which is why Lamb, makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. That's a huge bummer because I would love to see one of the African or Asian or Latin American picks show up.
I think maybe there's room for Lebanon, for Costa Brava, Lebanon.
Yes,
or
for sure.
Well, I mean, there would have been for Jordan, but they were they were the one that got pulled.
Yeah. The plot description on that one too, they were like using Israeli sperm to impregnate Palestinians or so. I was like, whoa! I can't
imagine that being problematic.
Yeah, it's like that's a interesting concept to be the one you submit. So I was definitely reading that, was doing like the real life version of the eye emojis where you're like,
I mean,
that's not gonna happen.
It's not. I mean, it's gone. It's off the list. But it was certainly something I was looking at as a possibility. I mean, I would love to see something get in that's never gotten in. I would love Somalia to get in for the Gravedigger's Wife for their first ever submission. I want to see more of that. I want to see more of that, and not, here's the 200th submission from France and they've won 85 times. I want to see something a little bit more than that.
Yeah, and I'm looking at other people's. Okay, I see Deadline thinks Clara Sola from Costa Rica could get in.
Okay.
So that's interesting. And
well, I mean, even picking Taiwan's film The Fall is risky because the only films they've ever gotten in were Ang Lee films every time.
Oh yeah,
all three times.
Have you seen Escape from Mogadishu?
No, but I was hovering around that as well.
And then I guess Cambodia's White Building. Did you see that?
No.
Okay, yeah. Deadline thinks that those two might be factors as well.
I hope so. And I'm glad actually that they are looking outside of Europe even more than I am on this. So I'm
but I'm being cautious, I'm the same as you. I've been burned too many times to expect them to be
Exactly.
truly inspired.
I'm telling you. But yeah, either way, like we said at the beginning of this is a category that is packed with so many major films, and not, not ones that nobody knows about, like films that people have seen and played
Yeah.
festivals and have won and nominated. It's just all over the place. And even in looking at that, the three films that have Golden Globe and Critics' Choice, regardless of how you feel about either of those, are A Hero, The Hand of God, and Drive My Car. And we know what is happening with Drive My Car right now after its New York and LA wins, which are major.
Yeah.
Major.
I mean, you were the one who tweeted what, like the last film to win both those and not get nominated for Best Picture was Leaving Las Vegas.
Yeah. Which in a field of 10 obviously would have made. It was probably number 6.
Yeah. So they need to who's distributing it? Like Janus?
It's Janus, yeah, which is Criterion. And it's like, they must be thinking right now, I'm sorry, how do we run an Oscar campaign? Can somebody help us? And I'm like, hey, give me a call. But it's that's the only thing that makes me nervous, because what we've seen recently, is Amazon and Neon and, companies that are good at this, even if they're new at it.
I'm so mad that Sony Classics didn't acquire that. It seems like it would be a Sony Classics film, and then I'd be like, oh yeah, it's getting into adapted, maybe director, but now I'm like, it could definitely win international feature, but I'm still, I need to see a little bit more before I start thinking it gets into adapted or director.
Yeah.
But, the critics are basically carrying that campaign on their back. And
absolutely. But it's also the kind of thing where if something like Drive My Car makes the Best Picture 10, that really kind of forces a wider group of people to watch the movie. Yeah, which gives it such an upper hand in international feature film.
Oh God, if it gets into picture, it's it's going to win international film. Like,
it's just... and I mean, Japan has not had a lot of luck here, so it would be pretty great to have this happen.
I was going to say, since Kurosawa, I mean, what was the last Japanese?
Departures.
Yeah,
and that was a long time ago. But yeah, the thing that's happening with Drive My Car too is that outside of these short lists, we're now looking for the foreign language film director to break into to Best Director, where we have now seen enough examples of it that we can start calling it a little easier.
Yeah.
And the issue this year was we had so many. We had too many. And what had happened in the years prior is that it was very easy to coalesce around one director to get there and to put everything behind it. And this year, is Farhadi and Sorrentino and Almodovar. There are major names.
Yeah.
So what happened then was all of them kind of just fell by the wayside in the last couple of weeks with Hamaguchi just running with that.
Yeah. And so it needs to get more eyes, and I'm hoping that the critics' love is going to make that happen. But I just haven't seen it campaigned much, and to make that crossover to other categories, people got to see it to compensate. Hamaguchi is obviously, he is a known commodity, but I mean, to compete with names like Farhadi or Almodovar, who have won or been nominated for Oscars for. Yeah, I mean, Janus Films has got to. I don't envy them for having to figure out how to kind of put the gas, put their foot on the gas in this campaign. They got something. They need to be able to close the deal.
It is because the critics only go so far, and then their job is done, and they have to hand the baton off to guilds and actual voters. And then there's no more
first cow.
Exactly. My God. What a night. That poor. Oh, I love First Cow. Poor thing. But yes, that's kind of where I think that's where we are with international feature film, and what the potential is for a lot of those movies outside of that category too, which is also something I hope and want to see more of, because it's great to have, an animated, a documentary in an international feature film category, but I really want to see those break out from those and be able to do more things. We've still never had a real documentary really nominated for Best Picture outside of 1927, but that was a really there's a lot of ways to, of how we read and interpret the early days of the Oscars and what was called Best Picture and Best Production, and how we officially acknowledge that. But yeah, I mean, Flea getting in Best Picture would be amazing. God, so good. And all the other things that it can get in, Hand of God, A Hero, Titan, anything to be able to break through into that 10 would be fantastic. It's just,
and I think there is like a wide open spot, because I don't think Nightmare Alley is going to do it.
Nope.
So, I think maybe the other 9 from the Critics' Choice are good to go, but I think there's that wide open spot. And so, yeah, I mean, a lot of those interesting choices, maybe they do show up, but we're not doing the 5% of number 1 votes anymore, right? It favors consensus. So that's going to be an issue too.
Very much so. That is going to be a really tough part of it. And even the Globes finally changed their rules, of allowing foreign language films and animated films back into the top 2 categories, but it didn't happen.
Oh my God, I missed that they changed those rules, and that's such a bummer.
They changed it this year.
Yeah.
In summer, I think in June, and it didn't happen. I think it'll happen in the future. Yeah. But again, like with the director thing, it has to coalesce around one thing, because people are just so terrible at voting.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's why you should be the one picking all
of them, actually. Yeah.
All of them should just be Eric Anderson specifically.
All of them. I'm sorry, you 9,000 Academy members, but the rules have changed and it's now me. And it's just going to be Flea and Spencer and Power of the Dog, and that they're going to get all the nominations.
That sounds fantastic. So
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Yeah.
Also better than Critics' Choice,
Well, yeah, that's yeah. I won't need to comment on them any more than I already do. Will, do you have any parting thoughts about what the shortlist might look like, or maybe something that you want?
Well, I mentioned I really want to see The Green Knight show up in a couple of those.
Good.
It's not going to happen, but I know Neon has tried to get The Killing of Two Lovers onto the sound shortlist. I think that film's simply too small, but I really appreciate that they're trying, and that's pretty incredible sound work. Trying to think if there's anything else I really. Okay, Eric, what about you? What's your long shot that you would weep with joy if it got in?
Into the shortlist? Well, I don't want to sound like I'm just piggybacking, but I mean, really anything from The Green Knight being able to do that, which puts it in a place where, like I said before, then it has to be seen. Once you have that short list, it's like, okay, I get to put this at the top of my screener list.
I got one for you.
That's what I would like.
Antonio Pinto for 9 Days. I would cry if he got in for score. I'm obsessed with that score. It's so good.
You are. That's right. I like that. That is a really good pick. And also a weird movie that was like, wait a minute, what was the eligibility of this?
Yeah. So crazy. Don't get me started on that.
I know. What a mess. That and anything for Tragedy Macbeth is what I would like. I would like to see both that and Green Knight get in kind of all over the place in the short list, but I also know for a fact that it would be getting my hopes up, and it would dash them just as quickly.
You know who I love the costumes on that, especially the costume worn by I don't remember the Alex something. He's like the right hand man.
Yes.
Yeah, I love his performance in that so much, and everything about him. His sleek costume. He brought so much to that character.
The whole time that he was on in that crop top robe with the sleeves, I was like, can I get that right now?
I love that outfit so much.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, obsessed. And that's not even like a short list thing, but
Yeah,
yes,
I know. It's just like a matter of fact, like I love the costumes
I want
back.
that costume so bad. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
yeah.
I don't,
Next Halloween.
you'll do it. Yes. Yeah. I won't have to wear caftans anymore. I'll just wear that crop top robe. My goodness. All right. I think we're good for today. And we've got these coming out on the 21st, so we can see how poorly we've done or how well we've done. I hope we've done well. We'll see. But I hope our wishes come true more than our predictions. So we'll see.
Yeah, for sure.
Will, I'm sure many people know where to find you because we probably have so many mutuals, but please tell everybody where to find you.
You can find me on Twitter at Mavericks Movies, occasionally on Sky News, and listening to or reading articles from nextbestpicture.com. Eric, thank you so much for having me on here. This has been great. Love chatting about this stuff with you.
I'm glad to have you on, and you're definitely the person I always want for these short lists because you pay attention and
Yeah.
you do the work, and then I just steal from it. So it's
Yeah,
it
thank
works.
you,
It really
Eric.
works out for me.
Yeah, I know. It's a nice, like, symbiotic relationship, like I guess I get something from you.
I think
The
so.
pleasure of your company.
Well, obviously that. Yes, exactly. All right. Yes. Thank you, Will, very much. You can find me at awardswatch.com, obviously, and at awards_watch on Twitter, and my musings and my horrible comments and my awful attempts at jokes there, as well as predictions. Hey, go figure. But all right. Until next time, Will, have a really happy holiday.
You too. Enjoy yourself.
I will. And everybody listening, thank you very much for listening. And you have a happy holiday too. Bye.